Hi, everybody. It's February 20th, 2025. I'm at one of my happy places, the local McDonald's. I just almost finished my 10,000 steps. So I try and walk 10,000 steps every day. And usually what I do is I walk. I live on a ridge in Coquitlam. Coquitlam is a city in British Columbia that's just mountains. It's the Fraser River and then mountains. And there's actually a song, Quand le soleil du beau jour a montagne, which was the #1 hit for a long time in the 60s. And it's actually written about the mountain that I live on, Blue Mountain in Coquitlam. Lucille Starr sings it. I don't think she wrote it, but she sings it when the sun says good morning to the mountains. So what I do is I walk down to the Fraser River. Usually what I do is I walk down to the Fraser River and back. But today I didn't. I did a different route. So I'm trying to stay fit. So I'm in the fight of my life. My little brother, Paul Kierans, who had 64 with Down syndrome, was locked up by David Eby and the British Columbia New Democratic Party government in British Columbia for 588 days. And then I believe they killed him. He had some kind of stroke, and they removed his oxygen mask and sedated him to death. So they locked up my brother. I had a contract with the government social worker that Paul and I could visit twice a week, once at his group home and then once at my home. So he would get a little bit of a family visit on Saturdays. And he never wanted to leave my home. It really ticked the group home large off, because he just didn't want to leave my home when it was time to go. Like, who can blame him? You know, he's a human being. Human beings want to live in a family environment. It doesn't matter what you call it. L'Arche is an institution operated by the New Democratic Party government in BC. So when I complained, I found out in February of 2022 that the government had created a fraudulent forged power of attorney over Paul to give him the COVID-19 shot. I'm not against COVID-19 vaccinations, but I have a sister on Vancouver Island who was against. She's an anti-vaxxer. So what the government did was they appointed my 82-year-old Catholic nun sister 4,000 kilometers away in Ontario as Paul's substitute decision maker. They forged his signature on a power of attorney. So when I complained to the Burnaby RCMP, as soon as the group home found out and the government found out that I'd complained to the RCMP, they terminated permanently our visits. I got a letter from the group home's lawyer, Tara Britnell, saying, "You'll never see your brother again." Can you imagine, like, what kind of perverted, sadistic mind could think up such a thing as separating two siblings? But that's what we're facing here in Canada with these socialist communists. I mean, everywhere I look, I just see the Communist Party of China everywhere. So I'm just finishing. I'm trying to stay fit. After my brother was locked up in his group home for 588 days. And then, as I said, I believe they killed him right in front of me by sedating him to death, removing his oxygen mask and sedating him to death at Burnaby General. And the College of Physicians and Surgeons assigned an investigator, and they're investigating his death. Everyone that I've described it to said they did medical assistance in dying on him. So in Canada, since Justin Trudeau came to power on October 19th of 2015, so almost 10 years ago, what his pet project, his two pet projects. One is drugs to legalize marijuana, decriminalize marijuana, and decriminalize murder. So 60,000 Canadians have been killed by a regular doctor or nurse since Justin Trudeau came to power. That's 20 a day, or 1 out of every 20 deaths. 5 out of every 100 deaths, or 1 out of every 20, is just a regular doctor or nurse administering a lethal injection to the person. They do not have to be dying. They do not have to be ill. They just have to have some kind of discomforting situation that they want to, or they say they want to be relieved from. So that's what I think they did to Paul. So what happened was, on April 21st, I got a phone call from the Burnaby RCMP saying that they were ordered by Ottawa to reopen the investigation into the fraudulent forged power of attorney. And as soon as my nun sister found out that she was being investigated, she ordered the medical staff at Burnaby General to remove Paul's oxygen mask and to sedate him to death. That was my observation. So I was allowed, they cut off my visits until he had the stroke, and then when he couldn't speak, they reinstated. I could have a 10-minute visit once a day. Can you imagine? I live here. I've cared for him his whole life. And the nun flew in from Ontario, and she restricted my visits to 10 minutes a day. Just, and I'm a Catholic. I was a Catholic. I don't know if I still am. I honestly don't know. Every single thing that I believe in has been shaken. So my belief in my country, my loyalty to my country, Canada, Canada's killing disabled people. I've spent my whole life supporting and acting on behalf of disabled people, first as a psychologist at a large institution, and then as a lawyer. My first major case that went to the Court of Appeal of British Columbia was on behalf of a disabled young girl. The government had taken her inheritance and used it to support her, so she was left with nothing when she came of age. And they basically did the same thing with my brother. So I've been posting these videos as a form of therapy to try and express my frustration. And I still haven't cried over Paul. Paul died on April 23rd of 2024, and I just can't cry. He's only 2 years younger than me. We grew up together. I spent my whole life protecting him and defending him. And I sort of built my career around people like him. Anyways, I just wanted to say that this, I'm torn with this issue of Donald Trump saying that he wants to make Canada, annex Canada and make it the 51st state. I mean, where do you get such a perverted idea? We need intervention. I've said there's a similarity between World War II Europe, occupied Europe, where Hitler was killing disabled and vulnerable people as fast as he possibly could. And the Allies invaded Europe and had victory over Hitler because what he was doing was morally wrong, and no law on earth. Everything that Hitler did was legal. That's what Martin Luther King said. Everything that Hitler did was legal. Every single thing he did was legal. And when I post complaints about Canada killing vulnerable people, people say, oh, well, it was legal. There was a Supreme Court of Canada decision. Well, everything that Hitler did was legal too. But what Donald Trump should be doing is threatening Canada to change its immoral killing of vulnerable people, not to take over our resources. Because after the Allies won World War II, the best thing that they did was they brought in the Marshall Plan and they rebuilt Europe to make a stable world. They didn't take over Europe. They didn't invade it and make Europe be part of the United States or take any of their resources. So Donald Trump is so screwed up. We're going to have to, I've always felt that Canada's going to have to cure itself of this horrible disease of medical assistance in dying. We're going to have to stop it ourselves. No one's going to help us. Nobody's going to come to our rescue. Justin Trudeau, the malignant narcissist, failed drama teacher that he is, he's failed in every possible way. And he knows that it's immoral. Killing these people, killing our fellow disabled Canadians is immoral. And that's why he's clinging to being Prime Minister because he thinks he's going to go to prison if he's not the Prime Minister. But we have to stop this medical assistant in dying. We don't have the right to do it. We don't have the right to do it. It's toxic compassion. People who are killed don't have a chance to change their mind. They can never appeal. They can't vote out the people that killed them. Once you're dead, you're dead. Anyways, that's it for tonight. I'm worn out. I need to get home. We had an earthquake, a 4.5 earthquake here in Coquitlam, but I didn't even feel it. All that happened is my kitten Flurry ran up one side of me and down the other, and it hurt like hell. He put his little claws into me. He was so terrified. But that's the kind of thing that we have here in British Columbia. Anyways, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Take care.